You win a storage unit at auction. You're excited. Maybe there's old furniture, maybe something valuable tucked away. You drag two heavy suitcases home, unzip them, and instead of treasures, you're staring into the hollow eyes of death. Inside are the remains of two children. This isn't fiction. This isn't a movie. This is one of the darkest true crime cases New Zealand has ever seen. The world would come to know it as the Suitcase Murders. It was a quiet afternoon in August 2022 in Auckland. The Winning family, thrilled with their purchase, unpacked their new belongings piece by piece. Then they reached the suitcases. The first zipper slid open. The smell hit them before they saw what was inside. Pause. The second suitcase was no different. Inside both cases, the skeletal remains of two small children. Shock turned to horror. Panic. The family fled, calling police. When detectives arrived, they were stunned. It was clear these weren't recent deaths. The bodies had been concealed for years. And that's when a chilling mystery began to unfold. Forensic teams worked around the clock. Slowly, they pieced together the identities. The victims were siblings, Yuna Jo, 8 years old, and Minu Jo, just 6. Two innocent children, silenced and hidden away. But the most shocking twist was yet to come. Because when police dug into their past, they realized the person who should have loved and protected them might have been the one responsible for their deaths. Their own mother, Hakyung Lee, also known as Yuna Lee. Who was she? Born in South Korea, Lee moved to New Zealand years earlier. She seemed like any other mother. But behind closed doors, something was terribly wrong. In 2018, her children vanished. Not to neighbors, not to friends, not to anyone who could sound the alarm. And then, so did she. Lee packed her bags, left New Zealand, and flew back to South Korea. She even changed her name. For years, she lived quietly, as though Yuna and Minu had never existed, until fate forced her secret back into the light. When the remains were discovered, police wasted no time. An Interpol alert went out. In September 2022, South Korean officers tracked Lee down in the city of Ulsan. She was arrested. Neighbors who knew her were stunned. They thought she was quiet, ordinary. By late 2022, she was on a plane back to New Zealand. This time, she wasn't a mother. She was a murder suspect. But even with Lee in custody, investigators faced a nightmare problem. The bodies were too decomposed for a clear cause of death. There were whispers of sleeping medication in the children's systems, hints of sedation, but nothing conclusive. So the prosecution built its case on something else: behavior, the abandoned storage unit, the sudden disappearance, the years of silence. To them, it painted the picture of guilt. But Lee had her own plan. September 8, 2025, the Auckland High Court. The trial everyone had been waiting for finally began. And in one shocking twist after another, Lee decided to represent herself. No lawyers to shield her. No defense team to speak on her behalf. She sat in a separate room, connected by video link. Watching, listening, occasionally speaking in her own defense. The prosecutors laid out their case. That Lee killed Yuna and Minu, sealed their bodies in suitcases, and abandoned them to rot in storage. The jury was shown photos of the suitcases. The silence in the courtroom was heavy. Lee, meanwhile, argued her innocence. She hinted at mental health struggles, painting herself as a woman overwhelmed, not a murderer. The clash between prosecution and defense was brutal. But even with all the evidence, the case leaves haunting questions. Why? What drove a mother to such extremes? Was it cold calculation? A fit of rage? A mind unraveling under pressure? And how, in modern New Zealand, could two children disappear in 2018 and no one noticed for years? Every question circles back to one chilling reality. Only Lee knows the full truth of what happened to Yuna and Minu. And so far, she isn't talking. The case shocked not just New Zealand, but South Korea too. Parents clutched their children tighter. Communities asked how such horror could go unseen. The family who made the discovery? They were left traumatized forever, burdened with memories they never asked for. The case sparked debate about mental health, about systems that fail children, and about the evil that can sometimes hide behind the most familiar of faces. Two children, gone. A mother on trial, insisting she's not guilty. Suitcases holding the darkest of secrets. The Suitcase Murders remain one of the most disturbing cases in New Zealand's history. As the trial unfolds in 2025, the world is left waiting. Will the truth finally come out? Will justice be served for Yuna and Minu Jo? Or will this case forever remain shrouded in silence, just like the suitcases where their little bodies were found? What do you think? Was this an act of pure evil or the breakdown of a fragile mind? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more shocking true crime stories from around the world, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because in true crime, the scariest stories are always the real ones.